So you mean to tell me all those late nights, what you doing, where you at? I've seen Jay-Z at his house. I've seen T. Jakes at his house. I've seen Chris Brown at his house. I've seen Jordan Woods at his house. I've seen Travis Scott at his house. I've seen Beyoncé at his house. I've seen...
Its timeline is on fire, and the internet can't look away. Chatter is exploding after fresh, unverified claims started ricocheting across feeds, pulling Beyoncé, Jay-Z, Tasha K, and Jason Lee into a whirlwind of speculation. Fans are shocked, blogs are buzzing, and emotions ran high as whispers suggested there might have been behind-the-scenes pressure, hush conversations, and a scramble to control the narrative. Again, these are claims circulating online, not proven facts, and we're approaching them strictly as commentary. But the timing, the names, the history between these media heavyweights, that's what's turning a rumor mill into a cultural moment. Insiders are hinting at strained friendships, strategic silence, and receipts people swear they've seen, but won't post. The family was left divided. Stan armies are already picking sides, and timelines are demanding answers while the principals stay quiet. If true, it's explosive. If not, it's the most dramatic game of telephone the industry has seen all year. Tonight, we're unpacking why the story caught fire, who stands to gain, who stands to lose, and what the alleged payoff talk really means in the court of public opinion. No verdicts, no declarations, just a deep dive into the storm that has everyone refreshing their screens. It started quietly.
Tell them while Johnny puts a beep over this part of the show, so you'll never know what it is, but I want you to see their reactions, and I'm going to do it right now. Ooh, and that's where I go back to, like, we're friends in the game. We support each other. We help each other out. Can you imagine had I put that on Hollywood Law? Oh, there's one more thing. Beep this, Johnny.
Quietly, like most storms in the entertainment world do. A few whispers on smaller blogs, a handful of cryptic posts from gossip insiders, and suddenly the story began to grow legs of its own. Nobody could tell where it began. But one name kept surfacing over and over: Tasha K. The same Tasha K who built her career calling out celebrities and promising to tell the stories they don't want you to hear. This time, her focus had shifted toward one of the most untouchable couples in music history. She hinted that a well-known media figure, Jason Lee, had allegedly been offered something to stay silent about a situation involving the Carters' private life. It wasn't about fame, money, or old industry grudges, she said. It was about control. Fans were stunned. People couldn't decide whether to believe her or not, but curiosity spread like wildfire. Social media was suddenly filled with posts dissecting every clue, every old photo, every deleted comment. Timelines were buzzing with phrases like, "something's off," and "she wouldn't risk saying this unless she had proof." Others rolled their eyes, calling it another round of manufactured drama meant to boost clicks and views. But no matter where you stood, the tension was real. It felt like a curtain had been pulled back just slightly on a world that was never meant to be seen. In the scenes, industry insiders started to speak in cautious tones. One publicist, who refused to be named, told an online magazine that conversations in certain circles had grown unnervingly quiet. According to them, even casual mentions of Tasha K's claims were being shut down. "People are acting like there's a line you're not supposed to cross," they said. "It's not about whether it's true or not. It's about who you're talking about." And who they were talking about were two of the most powerful figures in modern music, known for their calculated silence and the iron grip they kept on their brand. Then came the unexpected twist. Jason Lee himself spoke up. It wasn't a direct response, but more like a pointed performance. A long, emotional post where he vented about betrayal, about being used, and about powerful people trying to erase his name. The post didn't name names, but fans didn't need him to.
I think Beyonce could have gave me a, you know what I mean? Like, there should be a little love there. Now,
Maybe she doesn't know.
She know. Beyonce doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't think Beyonce. And they're not going to share that with her.
Yvette knows. I got the receipts. I still have the receipts. Yvette know I got the receipts. I got them. Now if I get that message to Beyonce,
yes,
I
she
can
needs
get
to
it
know.
to I'm connected. I could get the message to Beyonce.
She needs to know.
And I think people like her publicist, who I love, and I'm just being critical. That's just what I do. You know that, Yvette. We're trying to book Kelly Rowland right now. Now, if I don't get Kelly Rowland because I say this about, then it's gonna be a problem. Then I'm putting out receipts. The receipts I just told you about, then I'll put those out.
He even bragged that
The timing lined up perfectly with the rumors Tasha K had just unleashed. The internet connected the dots instantly. Soon, Jason Lee, Tasha K, and Beyoncé and Jay-Z were trending together, painting a digital picture of chaos that nobody could look away from. In his live stream days later, Jason sounded both frustrated and strangely proud. "They can say what they want," he said, shaking his head. "But I've seen things, and I've protected people they wouldn't believe. I've done favors that never got acknowledged. I'm not the villain here." Those words set the stage for endless theories. What exactly had he protected them from? What was he hinting at when he said he'd done favors? And most importantly, what kind of payoff was Tasha K really talking about? Detectives began their work. Old interviews, red carpet moments, and even charity events were being analyzed frame by frame. Some claimed to spot tension between the Carters and Jason Lee during past appearances, while others insisted that the supposed feud was nothing but
Celebrities. Every single celebrity in the culture has been to Diddy's house, which means they've gone through all his phones, text messages. I can read you my text message to Diddy. "What day is it airing on the show, on the network? Are you coming on the show? Diddy, what's this?" It's all been business for me. It's been business for me. I don't have nothing inappropriate to them people because I don't deal with them like that. So you mean to tell me all those late nights, what you doing, where you at? I've seen Jay-Z at his house. I've seen T. Jakes at his house. I've seen Chris Brown at his house. I've seen Jordan Woods at his house. I've seen Travis Scott at his house. I've seen Beyoncé at his house. I've seen Tiana Taylor. I've seen them all. Now, we was all in the backyard, but I've seen them all. I've seen Usher there. I've seen DaBaby there. I've seen Justin Bieber there. I've seen... Everybody's been to a Diddy party. I've seen Lindsay Lohan, Ashton Kutcher, Demi Moore, Tyrese, Amber Rose. I've seen them all.
Smoke and mirrors. One clip, showing Jay-Z looking away during a question about media coverage, was shared millions of times with captions suggesting it proved everything. It didn't, of course, but by then, perception had become more powerful than facts. By midweek, entertainment pages were spinning every angle they could find. One headline claimed there had been a private meeting months earlier between Jason and the Carters' management team. Another said there was a settlement agreement that fell apart before it could be signed. Others believed Tasha's claims were part of a coordinated move, a power play meant to expose something bigger. Her followers flooded her comments with fire emojis and "spill it, sis?" while Jason's followers flooded his with prayers and encouragement to stand strong. Friends close to the situation, or at least those who claimed to be, painted two different pictures. One said Jason had been deeply hurt after being left out of certain high-profile events hosted by the Carters. "He took it personally," they whispered. He thought he was part of their circle. Then suddenly he wasn't invited anymore. The other side told a different story, that Jason had overstepped, that he'd inserted himself into private matters and pushed boundaries no one else dared to cross. Both versions sounded believable, and that was the problem. Nobody could separate what was real from what was rumor. Then came the voice notes. A few unverified audio clips began circulating online, said to be from insiders discussing payments, loyalty, and keeping certain stories buried. The voices were muffled and distorted, but listeners were convinced they recognized who was speaking. One even claimed to hear a mention of the kids, which only fueled the chaos further. Fan pages began posting the clips with captions like, "So this is what Tasha was talking about," while skeptics warned that fake recordings had become a trend for clicks. Beyoncé and Jay-Z said nothing. Their silence, as always, was louder.
Recently, I'm getting calls, and I haven't even said anything. They ain't called me to go to the Rock Nation brunch. They haven't called me to go to the Gold Party.
To accept being honored.
They haven't called me when we offered to honor Jay-Z at the award show. They didn't call me to go to the press conference about striking the deal with the NFL while we were kneeling for Kaepernick. They didn't call me to ask me what I thought about her hair care product. They didn't call me to offer a free bottle of her perfume. I didn't get to go backstage on her tour for the Renaissance. In fact, when the video circulated making it look like I've been chasing her around like a super fan, which I am a super fan, but I chase nobody. Nobody's called me to clear that up. I haven't gotten a delivery of white flowers with a little card from Beyoncé. Why is everybody calling me now?
Oh, and you also stopped.
Don't we not going to even go there? I stopped a major thing for Beyoncé. Didn't even get a thank you.
But now everybody's calling.
Why is everybody calling me now? Because I'm a firefighter. Because I run towards fires and I put them out or I fan the flames. But why is everybody calling me now? And that's the problem that I have with this whole situation. But I am going to save this conversation for Jay-Z. Jay-Z, you're watching. I know you're watching because you got people calling me. Stop having people call me. You can call me yourself. You know how to get my number. You know you got.
Than any statement could ever be. Fans took it as a sign of guilt. Others took it as pure strategy. They never address gossip. One fan page reminded everyone, they rise above it. Always have. Always will. But even that calm explanation couldn't stop the wave of commentary. It was as if every corner of the internet had chosen a side. Those who believed there was a hidden deal, and those who thought the whole story was just entertainment at its messiest. Tasha K, meanwhile, seemed to enjoy the chaos. Every new post felt like a wink to her audience, a promise that more was coming. "Y'all think I'm done?" she said in a short clip, smirking. "Baby, I'm just getting started." That single sentence was enough to reignite the frenzy. People began waiting for her next drop, like it was a scheduled episode of their favorite show. She didn't deliver right away, though, and that silence built suspense of its own. Rumors started swirling that she was being pressured to stay quiet, while others joked that she was simply charging her phone for round 2. Meanwhile, Jason continued to post vague messages about loyalty, truth, and fearlessness. "I don't run from nobody," he wrote late one night, "but sometimes I gotta protect myself." It didn't take long for those words to be turned into headlines. One outlet even called it a veiled threat, while another labeled it a cry for help. Soon the situation stopped being just celebrity gossip. It became a kind of digital theater. Fans were the audience, influencers were the narrators, and somewhere in between, the truth, if it existed, got buried under waves of emotion and speculation. Could deny was how personal it all felt. Jason's followers defended him like he was family, while the Carter's fans treated any criticism as blasphemy. The comment sections turned into battlegrounds full of shouting, emojis, and theories that read like detective novels. Every screenshot, every quote, every silent glance from an old video was treated like evidence in a trial the internet had appointed itself to judge. And as the noise grew louder, Tasha K's name became impossible to escape. For better or worse, she had everyone exactly where she wanted them, watching, waiting, and wondering what would happen next. By the time another weekend rolled around, the rumor mill had turned into a full-blown circus. Social media timelines were flooded with clips, theories, and emotional breakdowns from fans who felt like they were watching history unfold in real time. People weren't just gossiping anymore, they were investigating. Threads stretched hundreds of comments long, analyzing old interviews, red carpet body language, and even background sounds from live performances, convinced that hidden messages were waiting to be uncovered. It was entertainment chaos at its finest, a digital soap opera with everyone playing a role. The heart of the story, though, kept circling back to that one explosive claim. Had Jason Lee really been offered something to stay silent? And if so, by whom? Tasha K's followers were convinced that her hints pointed directly toward the Carters, while skeptics said she was just chasing views. Still, when she dropped a new live stream full of cryptic statements and nervous laughter, it added fuel to an already roaring fire. "They know what they did," she said, her tone calm but loaded. "I'm not here to destroy nobody. I'm here to expose the truth, whatever that looks like." That one sentence was clipped, reposted, and debated endlessly on fan forums. Users began constructing timelines like detectives solving a cold case. They pointed out that Tasha K's previous posts about celebrity hypocrisy had lined up perfectly with the day Beyoncé's new business partnership went public. Another group claimed that Jason's emotional posts always followed major Carter-related announcements. The implication? That he was being triggered by their success, or worse, taunted into silence. People compared screenshots, dissected emojis, and debated what a single heart symbol might mean. One viral comment read, "You can't tell me all this is coincidence." The silence from their side says everything. Amid all the noise, some people tried to bring logic into the conversation. One journalist reminded everyone that online claims can easily spiral into fiction. "There's no proof of payoffs," they wrote. "It's a narrative built on emotion, not evidence." But reason doesn't stand much chance against intrigue. Within hours, that journalist's post was drowned in replies accusing them of being on the payroll or afraid to tell the truth. Logic was boring. Drama was addictive. Then came another unexpected twist. A small blog published what they claimed were leaked emails between an unnamed media outlet and a representative allegedly connected to the Carters. The messages hinted at compensation for discretion regarding sensitive coverage. Though the authenticity of the emails was never confirmed, they spread faster than wildfire. Thousands shared them before the blog even posted a disclaimer. "This could be fake," the post later read. But the questions remain. By then, nobody cared whether it was fake or not. It had already become part of the story. Tasha K responded with another cryptic message. "Receipts don't always come in paper form," she wrote. Fans took that as confirmation that she was holding something real. Others accused her of playing a dangerous game, poking at one of the most private power couples on the planet. Her comment section turned into chaos, half the fans cheering her bravery, the other half begging her to stop before she ended up on some mysterious NDA list. The drama started to shift focus. When a new voice entered the scene, someone claiming to be a former staffer for a celebrity media company, they posted a long thread suggesting that there had been ongoing content negotiations between Jason Lee and a major label, but that things fell apart after someone from a power couples team got involved. While they never mentioned names, everyone filled in the blanks. It was another layer of mystery, another piece that made the puzzle more complicated instead of clearer. Behind the curtain, insiders hinted that Jason had gone quiet not because of fear, but because he was building something. There were whispers that he was preparing a documentary, something raw and revealing, focusing on the dark side of celebrity politics. Some claimed he was already shopping the idea to streaming platforms. "He's not scared," said a source close to him. "He's strategic." That claim reignited speculation that he might eventually drop the alleged receipts everyone kept talking about. Meanwhile, fans began noticing strange behavior from the Carters' camp. Beyoncé's team suddenly disabled comments under certain posts, while Jay-Z's official social profiles became unusually inactive. It might have meant nothing, but in the eyes of the internet, every silence was a signal. One fan tweeted, "Why they quiet now? If it's not true, why not just say so?" Others argued that silence was their signature move. Calm amid chaos, power through stillness. Whichever way you read it, the vacuum only made the story bigger. As the tension built, fan loyalty began to crack. Even longtime supporters started asking uncomfortable questions. Could it be possible that something really had gone down behind the scenes? Was this one of those stories where everyone pretends it's lies until years later, when the truth finally surfaces? One popular reaction video summed up the collective mood perfectly. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying it's suspicious. Then another wave of controversy hit. A video resurfaced showing Jason Lee speaking on a podcast months earlier saying, "I've done things for people y'all worship. I kept secrets that could end careers." The clip wasn't new, but its rediscovery hit different now. Fans interpreted it as foreshadowing, a confession hidden in plain sight. Hashtags like #Jason Knows and #Carter Coverup began trending overnight. Within hours, the podcast host had to clarify that the clip was taken out of context, but the internet had already made up its mind. Even people outside the entertainment world started chiming in. Political commentators, lifestyle influencers, and random celebrities all had something to say. One actress tweeted, "When power meets exposure, fireworks follow." Another joked, "At this point, someone needs to make a miniseries." The entire situation had evolved from a rumor into an ongoing saga, a living, breathing drama that thrived on speculation and fan energy. But under the bright lights of gossip, there was also a strange sadness. People who had once admired the unity and mystery of Beyoncé and Jay-Z's relationship were now picking it apart. One former fan page quietly deleted their account, writing only, "This isn't fun anymore." Others doubled down, saying the scandal made the stars seem more human, more real, and maybe that's why the story refused to die. It wasn't just about celebrities. It was about people craving the feeling that even perfection could crack under pressure. Through it all, Tasha K remained unfazed. She teased another drop on her channel, promising it would connect the dots everyone's been missing. Her followers waited with popcorn emojis and impatient comments. "We ready, Tasha," one wrote. "Shake the table again." At this point, the whole internet was treating the situation like a serialized drama. Episodes of chaos and silence, cliffhangers disguised as tweets. Nobody knew where the truth ended and entertainment began. And just when people thought things couldn't get messier, another revelation landed that sent shockwaves through every corner of social media. The revelation arrived like a lightning strike in a summer storm. Sudden, deafening, and impossible to ignore. A short clip surfaced online, supposedly from a confidential recording of a phone call between two industry figures. The voices were blurred and distorted, but fans swore one of them belonged to Jason Lee. In the recording, the voice could be heard saying, "They made me an offer I couldn't take." It wasn't about money, it was about silence. That single sentence detonated across the internet like dynamite. Hashtags erupted within minutes. Tasha K didn't post the clip herself, but she didn't deny its connection either. She simply shared a cryptic story that read, "Now y'all understand what I meant." That was all it took. Screenshots flooded every platform. Some users broke down the audio, claiming to detect small background noises, a faint beat, the echo of laughter, that they said matched previous videos Jason had filmed in his studio. Others insisted it was fake, generated with AI or cleverly edited. But whether it was real or not didn't matter anymore. The story had taken on a life of its own, and nobody was steering the wheel. Meanwhile, a few celebrities started weighing in. One R&B artist tweeted, "Hollywood is built on secrets. Don't act surprised when one finally leaks." Another wrote, "The silence from certain people says more than any statement could." Suddenly, what had been an isolated rumor felt like an open wound across the entertainment industry. The energy was thick, the air buzzing with tension. Fans weren't just gossiping now, they were demanding accountability. In Los Angeles, reporters began showing up at events hoping to get reactions from anyone even remotely tied to the story. When a journalist asked a former collaborator of Jason's whether he believed the claims, the man just laughed nervously and said, "That's above my pay grade." Yet, the smirk that followed sent fans spiraling again. Every smirk, every pause, every no comment became a clue. People didn't want answers anymore. They wanted drama. And drama was exactly what they were getting. Back online, Tasha K finally addressed the situation directly during a late-night live session. Thousands tuned in as she leaned toward the camera, her tone calm but cutting. "This is bigger than gossip," she said. "This is about people thinking they can buy silence. And I don't care how powerful you are. Truth don't need a paycheck." The comment section exploded. Some called her brave, others reckless. Within minutes, the clip had spread beyond the gossip community and into mainstream entertainment pages. One outlet captioned it, "Tasha K breaks her silence, again." Breaks her silence. But the real shock came when Jason responded indirectly just hours later. He posted a single message on his social feed. "You only tell part of a story when you don't want people to know how it ends." The timing was too perfect to be coincidence. Fans immediately assumed it was aimed at Tasha and, by extension, at the Carters. The speculation tripled overnight. Several fan pages even started posting mock battle posters, framing the situation like a heavyweight match, Tasha versus the Carters, with Jason in the middle. Somewhere in all this noise, people forgot that none of it had been proven. Everything was built on layers of implication and emotion, but the collective obsession refused to fade. Still, as the story snowballed, a quieter, more personal thread began to emerge: the emotional toll. Sources close to Jason said he'd been overwhelmed, barely sleeping, constantly on the phone with legal advisors. One insider said, "He feels like he's being cornered. Like everyone wants him to pick a side, but both sides are dangerous." Those words painted a haunting picture. Others speculated that he'd started receiving anonymous calls warning him to let it go. A few of his close friends hinted that he was thinking of leaving Ella for a while, maybe laying low somewhere out of the spotlight. That rumor only made things worse, convincing fans that something truly sinister was unfolding. One follower commented, "If he disappears, we'll know they got to him." The line was meant half-jokingly, but the undertone of fear was unmistakable. Meanwhile, Beyoncé's fan base, known for its fierce loyalty, launched a counter-narrative. They flooded timelines with positive posts, flooding hashtags with tour footage, charity moments, and family photos. "Protect Black Joy," one trending phrase read. Their message was clear. They weren't going to let anyone tarnish their queen's name. Yet even within that movement, cracks appeared. Some fans quietly admitted that the whole situation felt off. "I love her, but this is weird," one wrote under a viral thread. They're usually untouchable, but something about this silence feels heavy. As the drama unfolded, a new rumor dropped like fuel on fire. An anonymous account claiming to be part of an entertainment legal team suggested that a major settlement had been discussed behind closed doors to end the situation once and for all. The tweet didn't name anyone, but it didn't have to. Within minutes, Hush Deal was trending, and everyone assumed they knew who was involved. Screenshots of unverified legal documents began circulating: contracts, invoices, signatures that might have been doctored. Still, it was enough to convince a huge portion of the internet that money had changed hands. Tasha K's camp refused to confirm or deny the story, which only made things worse. "Silence speaks volumes," she tweeted, letting the chaos feed itself. Meanwhile, Jason posted a picture of himself at a restaurant, smiling with the caption, "Peace over pressure." Some saw it as him rising above the mess. Others saw it as a smirk at the entire situation, proof that he was sitting on information nobody else had. Then came what many called the breaking point. A former industry publicist went on record, saying they had once witnessed a heated exchange between Jason and a representative rumored to be linked to the Carters team. He looked angry like he was betrayed, the source recalled. And the other guy just kept saying, "You were supposed to be loyal." Those few words were enough to reignite every theory. Fans pieced them together with old clips and convinced themselves they'd cracked the code. As the online firestorm raged, bigger platforms began to take notice. Mainstream news outlets started covering the drama, labeling it a cautionary tale about power, media, and silence. Podcasts dissected it hour by hour, debating whether Tasha K had crossed an ethical line or whether she was the only one brave enough to speak out. One host summed it up perfectly. "This isn't about who's right. It's about who controls the story." Through it all, the emotional tension kept building. Friends close to the Carters said they were exhausted, fed up with the constant noise but determined not to break their vow of silence. A source claimed Beyoncé told her team, "We don't respond to chaos, we outlast it." That quote, real or not, became a rallying cry for her fans. Meanwhile, Tasha's followers doubled down, flooding comments with chants of "truth always wins." By the end of the week, the story had evolved beyond celebrity gossip. It had become a symbol of how far people would go for power, loyalty, and revenge. And while no one knew what was real, everyone felt like they were part of something monumental. The drama had transcended headlines. It had become a mirror, reflecting the hunger for spectacle that kept the internet alive. And just when people thought the storm might finally quiet down, another name entered the chaos, someone whose involvement nobody had expected, and whose connection threatened to flip the entire story upside down. The new name that dropped sent a ripple through every gossip page and entertainment blog like an aftershock. It wasn't a random influencer or a forgotten insider. It was someone with enough credibility to make people stop scrolling and start listening. A well-known music executive who had once worked closely with both the Carters and Jason Lee surfaced with an interview that threw gasoline on an already blazing fire. Without directly confirming any of the allegations, he spoke about a pattern of protection that existed within the industry, how certain names were never to be mentioned, how stories disappeared overnight, and how silence was often the most expensive form of currency. People think publicity is power, he said softly. But silence pays better. That single line became a headline everywhere. Suddenly, the conversation shifted from whether the payoff was real to whether it could be real. Pundits dissected the system behind celebrity control, exploring how narratives are shaped and suppressed. Talk shows debated if Tasha K had unintentionally exposed something bigger than she realized. Maybe this isn't about Beyoncé or Jay-Z at all, one commentator mused. Maybe it's about the structure that keeps everyone afraid to speak. Yet for every voice preaching perspective, 10 more shouted for drama. The internet didn't want analysis, it wanted a finale. Tasha K, sensing the momentum, went live again. Her tone this time was different. Measured, almost reflective, but still electric with tension. When you start speaking truth, she said, they call you messy. When you stay silent, they call you scared. I'm neither. She hinted that she had been contacted by certain individuals asking her to ease off the topic, but she refused to name them. I don't move off fear, she continued, leaning closer to the camera. I move off facts, and I still got a few. Within seconds, her words were clipped into bite-sized videos flooding TikTok and Twitter. Fans quoted her like gospel. Critics dismissed her as manipulative, but everyone watched. As the chaos reached its peak, Jason Lee finally broke his silence in a longer, more emotional post. Gone was the confident tone of his earlier messages. Instead, he sounded tired, almost nostalgic. I never asked for this, he wrote. I wanted peace, but peace don't trend. He admitted that the constant speculation had taken a toll on his mental health, that being caught between loyalty and truth had cost him relationships. People see the headlines, he said, but they don't see the nights I couldn't sleep, the calls I stopped answering, the way trust just disappeared. It was the first time the story had a human pulse, something raw beneath the layers of performance. Fans reacted with mixed emotions. Some flooded his comments with support, telling him to stay strong and promising that history would vindicate him. Others accused him of trying to shift the narrative again, of playing the victim after fanning the flames. One viral post summed up the collective confusion perfectly. Nobody's innocent here. They're all playing chess with our attention. That sentiment resonated deeply. The whole saga had started with claims of silence, but ended with everyone shouting at once. In the middle of it all, a strange calm seemed to settle over the Carters' world. A week passed with no response, no appearances, not even a single paparazzi photo. Then, without warning, Beyoncé made her first subtle move. A new post. Nothing more than a serene photo of a sunrise with a caption that read, "Energy flows where peace goes." It was elegant, vague, and powerful. Fans interpreted it as a quiet dismissal of the noise, a reminder that she controlled her own narrative. The image went viral instantly, hailed as the ultimate power move. Whether it was deliberate timing or coincidence didn't matter. The internet treated it like the final act of a movie. But behind that cinematic calm, people still wondered what really happened. Some insiders whispered that legal teams had indeed exchanged letters, that private negotiations were underway to de-escalate the situation. Others insisted the entire thing was smoke and mirrors, an elaborate digital play for attention and algorithm reach. One media analyst explained it best. The truth is no longer the currency, engagement is. Whoever keeps people talking the longest wins. By that measure, everyone involved had already won. As the frenzy faded, fans began reflecting on how easily a rumor can become reality when enough voices repeat it. What started as whispers about a supposed payoff had grown into a global narrative, woven through tweets, live streams, and reaction videos. And even though there was still no proof, no documents, no confirmations, the emotional damage had already been done. Friendships fractured, reputations shifted, and once untouchable figures now seemed more human than ever. Still, Tasha K wasn't ready to close the curtain. She ended her latest stream with one last tease. "The thing about secrets," she said, smiling knowingly, "is they always find the right ears." Fans erupted again, demanding part 2, part 3. Anything to keep the energy alive. But deep down, everyone knew the story had run its course. The mystery, the drama, the endless guessing, it had all become part of the entertainment itself. By the following week, new scandals had replaced the old ones. Another celebrity meltdown, another viral fight, another distraction to feed the cycle. Yet something about this saga lingered. Maybe it was the way it blurred the line between truth and performance, or maybe it was because it reminded everyone just how fragile celebrity power really is. For all the glitz and guarded privacy, one rumor had been enough to shake the empire, even if just for a moment. And somewhere in that noise, between loyalty and exposure, silence and spectacle, the audience learned its own lesson, that in the world of fame, sometimes the loudest headlines come from whispers, and the truth, whatever it is, might never trend at all. And just like that, the story that started as whispers has turned into one of the most talked about sagas of the year. The names, the emotions, the silence. It's all blurred together into a storm that has everyone asking the same question. What's real and what's just a performance? We may never know the full truth, and that's exactly what makes it so addictive. The claims, the denials, the clues, they've all turned this into a modern-day mystery, a game of power and perception played out in front of millions. But one thing's for sure, fans aren't done talking and neither are we. So now it's your turn. What do you think really happened? Was this all just clever timing? Or is there something deeper hiding beneath the glitz and glamour? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let your voice be heard, because this conversation isn't ending anytime soon. Make sure you hit that like button if you've been following every twist. Share this video with someone who needs the full breakdown, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next major shock in Hollywood's never-ending drama. Stay tuned, stay curious, and remember, every story has two sides, but the truth always leaves a mark.